So I'm the CTO of a company based in Venezuela. We are a B2B e-commerce platform. And we're going to be talking today about building an enterprise digital brain. So I'm going to do a quick intro, and then we'll jump straight into the demo. So what is a digital brain? It's your company's internal Wikipedia leveraged by AI. And by Wikipedia, I mean that we have a semantic and centralized knowledge base, which is, it makes our companies legible, and it functions as a unified source of truth. So we can then give access both to humans and to AI to be able to read it. So how do we store that Wikipedia? Do we store it in a database, in a table? What table? What columns? So basically, what's the schema of the data we are storing? And I would like to argue that file systems are the best abstractions we have. We can store both structured and unstructured data. And actually, it's quite semantic because folders and file names and the folder structure is conveying meaning. So it's actually better for the agent to browse through that corpus of knowledge. So the problem is that regular file systems have terrible search. So what we did is we developed a virtual file system, which is stored in a database, but behind the scenes, it's using a search engine, which is called Elasticsearch. It's actually the thing, the sticker I have here. I'm not a sponsor or anything, but that makes the searches go very, very well, very, very quickly. And what we were talking previously about the context information, this is basically a RAG architecture. So we are leveraging the database for pulling exactly the right information and not polluting the context window. So basically, that's the intro. I have a couple of demos here. Basically, this is the, where's my mouse? Okay. Do you guys see the fonts right? Okay. So basically, this is the interface for the file system. As you would expect, it's just files and folders. I'm just going to locate the sample file here. So as I mentioned, we are a B2B SaaS platform. So we have to run synchronization processes with our customers' ERP systems. For instance, we pull product information and we push new purchase orders. And each integration is customized. So we very frequently find ourselves answering the question, how is exactly that integration working? And it's always like something that has to be handled by the technical department. And almost always it's like, call Isaac and ask them how it's working. And I have to run through the code and read a bunch of stuff before I have to give an answer. But in here, because we have that script, this is the actual script that is running on our customers' premises. Because we have it uploaded to the brain, we're going to ask the agent to find this information for us. I'm sorry that some parts of the system are in Spanish. So let's just ask real quickly. Hi, can you remind me how does the order sync process work with this app? I like to add some noises to the prompts because that's how a user would almost likely ask the question, but the internal agent is actually cleaning up the search query, so we get better results. So it's actually finding the answer, and let's see what exactly it's doing inside here.
So this is the search query for Elastic?
Yeah, so we're taking the input from the user, we are cleaning it up, and we're converting it into a search query, and that search query is handled by Elasticsearch. And this is actually agentic search, so we're basically giving the agent a tool, so the agent can exactly decide how it wants to run the search and how many times does it need to run the search. And you can see that it's actually using a tool called SearchBrain. It's passing some parameters, and it's finding some results. And you can see that the folder structure is pretty semantic. You have a title, you have a description, and all of that information can be used to locate information. And you can see also what we were talking about previously about token economization. The search result doesn't return the whole document, but a snippet of the document, which is the relevant part. So that makes the context window not be polluted. And after finding the right document from the search, we're actually running a hybrid search. So it's trying to do a text search, and it's also doing a vector search. And after both types of searches are done, we are running a re-ranking algorithm to find the most relevant documents. And after the relevant document is found, the agent is executing another tool for reading the whole file. And once you have the whole file in your context, it can actually go ahead and let me just close here and give you a breakdown of how the system is working. So it's actually pulling some information from our API, and it's segregating by company ID. It's doing a bunch of stuff. I just want to ask it a little bit more in-depth question about it. So it's usually the case that in those integrations, there's a lot of custom codes that have to be inserted because of how our customers' ERP system is configured. So this is the kind of questions that usually come up in a meeting with a customer, and nobody knows the answer. What exactly are we inserting in the database when we have a consignment sale order? And nobody has the answer to. Somebody has to contact the technical department. The technical department takes an hour to respond. And in this architecture, anybody can come in here and ask the agent and have a response in a few seconds. So that's the first demo. I don't know how we're doing in time. Maybe I'll just jump to another demo. So we have all kinds of information retrieval things that we can do, but let's just take a look at skills also, which are very interesting. So I'll just load this skill, which is redacted in natural language, and it's formatted in Markdown. And it's actually, you can see it's written in Spanish, and I'm actually going to call it in English, so it's very flexible because the agent is smart enough to understand. And basically what we're doing is we're telling it how to go fetch the official exchange rate from US dollars to Venezuelan bolivars. And there's not really an API we can use. We have to go into the central bank webpage, and we have to plug the information. And also we're going to tell it to clean up the format, because decimal formats in Spanish are different than in English. And after that, we're going to take that exchange rate, and we are going to update our backend service so that the products are going to be displayed in the updated local currency. So let's just run this. I'm going to tell it to use a search skill for the USD exchange. It's going to run a search query again, basically the same. Just give it a couple of seconds. Oh. So it's actually pulling the correct information. We can go in here in the central bank web page. This is the updated exchange rate. This is the value we are extracting. And we're telling it to extract euros and US dollars. We can see in the description. This is the tool we're going to ask it to call. We pass the parameter, the URL, and the CSS selector for the values that we want to extract. And let's just see what the agent did. So we have a prompt. We are searching for skills, just exactly like the one before. We are finding the skill. We're reading the skill correctly, calling the fetch and plug, pulling the exact value, and it's running a curl request to update our backend service. And you can imagine how many powerful things we can build in this scenario. Because it's written in natural language, we can have non-technical users develop all kinds of interesting behaviors. And if you can see here, we are trying to come up with some scheduling configuration so we can have that skill run at a cron job. So we can tell it to run from like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. every 15 minutes on weekdays. And I have one more demo here. It's another skill. Let me just locate the file here. So this is called a guide to, this is also in Spanish, I'm sorry. It's a guide to prepare sales calls with a customer. So I'm not an expert in sales, but I know it really pays off to prepare 5 minutes before the call. So, yeah. So this is like an interactive coach thing. It's actually just telling the sales representative to, before the call, gather some information, and then it's telling it to, some basic recommendations for how to handle the call. But the interesting thing here is that you can see on the top we have configured a few tools. These are not tools for the agent, these are tools for the user. These are the things that should be really useful for the sales representative to have available during the call. So let's just invoke that skill. And we should be able to see that because we have configured those user tools, we can actually start to dynamically adjust the chat interface so that those tools can be available for the sales rep. So it's actually loading the skill. And once it reaches the skills, it's actually detecting new tools available. So you can see this new section that pops up here below the chat interface. And we have three tools available. Product search, in case we have any doubts to resolve with our customers about the product catalog. Just basically information, stock, and because we are a B2B sales platform, the price is actually personalized for the customer because it depends on the volume that they're buying. So this is actually the right price that the customer is going to pay for it. And it's very useful to have this information. Also to be able to query previous purchase orders from the same customer. And actually my favorite one is the last one. You can imagine if during the call the customer is having some objections. We don't want the sales representative to be improvising. We want them to follow a set of instructions of what we think are the best way to handle them. So we created this sample sales coach. And you can have like a live assistance of how to respond to those objections. So if the customer is saying that the product is too expensive, this is how you can handle it. And if the timing is not right or the competition or whatever. And they also have access to a knowledge base. They can query live with the customer. And you can see the complete script here. So this
customizes it for the customer too?
Yeah, you can actually, you can customize it however you want. The idea is to be able to very dynamically configure the skill with whatever tools you think they need. And this is just a sample for sales. But you can actually imagine how this could work in any other scenario. And the information shown here